Hello, Lisbon. It's fantastic to be here, and what a spectacular venue this is. Just look up and around. It's just compelling, and all of the people who are streaming live in your own personal, spectacular venues at home, it's great to have you joining us as well. So, where are we? It's been an incredible time at Microsoft over the last year or so. I think you've probably seen that and heard that, and it's hard to believe that actually it's only been just over a year since ChatGPT first hit the airwaves, and the pace of innovation since then has just been remarkable. In my role, I've had the privilege of working with customers from across our broad portfolio, from the largest enterprises like Mercedes and UBS to nimble digital natives who are trying to disrupt traditional markets with AI. Nimble digital natives, and there are many here, by the way. And across the spectrum, the message is clear. We're entering a new era of AI, and this is just the tipping point. It's exciting to be entering this new era because we're not just talking about innovation in the abstract. This is not a developer's toy. It's about product making. It's about deployment. It's about AI safety and seeing real productivity gains in the solutions that are being deployed. From our largest enterprises like the London Stock Exchange and Siemens, working with Microsoft to build co-pilots into the core of their products, creating new revenue streams in their markets. And to digital natives like Shopify and to Wave, where they're adapting the way they work, allowing developers to focus less on the mundane and more on the value-added productive work. We're witnessing a deep impact on both creativity and productivity in the workplace, and it's having a cascading effect on workflows everywhere across all industries in the world. And similar to the dawn of the cloud, and many of you will remember that, this new era of AI, we're witnessing the democratization of a complex technology that levels the playing field across both the developing and the developed worlds, and across the smallest startups to the largest enterprises. So how do we start this journey? How do we manifest this innovation so it's valuable to all of you? Well, we believe there are three imperatives for every organization to seize this full potential of AI. The first is unlocking productivity. This is about amplifying the ingenuity in every person. Fundamentally about how we're helping customers develop a high-performance organization where your employees can be happier and more fulfilled and can be more productive at work on the back of that. And that is essentially what our customers are leveraging from all the co-pilots that you've seen today with many of my colleagues on the stage, and it's at the heart of every one of our Microsoft products. The second imperative is to help our customers build their own AI capability. That is you building your own business apps or new apps intelligently with generative AI. These are your co-pilots inside of your businesses focused on capturing the unique opportunities that you have as a business or solving some of the unique industry problems that you're faced. Finally, the third imperative is about helping you safeguard your business and your data. And with all this excitement of AI, it has to be underpinned by the principle of trust. And for us, this translates into being a major force in this notion of responsible AI, ensuring you have strong data governance, privacy, and that your IP is protected at all times. And this is a responsibility that we as a business do not take lightly. And so, if you think about it, AI really is this generation's lever for growth. That's quite profound. Across all industries, we see thousands of use cases being deployed to drive productivity, enhance customer experience, and speed up critical research. And I've spoken to hundreds of customers in this area. I've actually spoken to tens just today. And it's hugely inspiring to see the speed and the sophistication of this journey with AI when you get it right. And I think that is such a good segue to talk to two such organizations. And with that, I'd ask you to help me welcome to the stage both Ana Paula Marques, the Executive Board Member of EDP, and Madalena Talone, Executive Board Member of CGD. So, Ana Paula, thank you for joining me today, Madalena. You've heard me just talking briefly about the exciting developments here at Microsoft, but it really comes to life in the context of you and your business. And so, maybe I'll start with you, Ana, which is, EDP has a very strong transformational story underpinned by technology. And I'd love it if you could share a little bit on your energy transition strategy and the role that AI is playing at the heart of that journey.
Well, thank you, Darren, and thank you, Microsoft, for being here, and also a pleasure to be here with Madalena this afternoon. EDP, we really believe that EDP has a great story on the energy transition because we are firmly committed to have this transition done in the next coming years. It's an imperative for the world and a significant contribution that our sector can really provide on this. So we have been leading this transition through unprecedented acceleration of our renewables growth. We are currently already over 90% of our energy coming from green sources, and when we look back just 2 decades ago, it was 20%, so a very significant increase. And we have also been recognized as the most sustainable utility according to Standard & Poor's and the Dow Jones Index. So the company is firmly committed to this transition with a very significant investment over the next coming years, more than 25 billion euros that we are investing in our business plan up to 2026. And we really believe that to do this transition, digital and AI are working both as enablers and accelerators of this transition. And so we are also very committed to invest all across our 29 markets in 5 continents, over 2 billion euros in this investment. And data and AI have really been at the core of what we are doing in terms of the organization. We always say that we really want to turn data into power, because it's extremely powerful within the organization and the sector, and mostly importantly, intelligence into action. That is really what we are doing and the concrete examples that we are powering within the organization. So over the last couple of years, we have done more than 300 use cases that we have in terms of our different businesses. And regarding generative AI, what we have seen was the importance to have an orchestrated strategy developed across the organization with our partners in terms of an open ecosystem where we were doing that, to really guarantee that across all our different platforms and all across our different regions, we were pursuing this strategy and really identifying the different use cases where we saw most power and impact and results that they could produce. So we identified more or less 150 use cases all across the company, a lot of competition, good competition, because what we've seen was that the first step was really for the company to understand the power of AI. And so we have conducted several sessions across the organization. The first one that we have done across the regions, it had more than 700 of our people really engaged in that. So we have today reached more than 2,000 people within the organization to really see the potential. And we have focused on 25 concrete cases that we are pursuing in this first wave, in partnership with many different companies, Microsoft being a very significant partner on this, to really guarantee that we could unleash the potential that we were seeing in AI within the organization. To give just 2 or 3 examples, of course, it was important in the beginning to set the ground rules. We were seeing your presentation and the importance of guaranteeing security. So it was also important, data security, to guarantee what were the golden rules for the organization, to really also guarantee that we had a safe playground for data and AI, to really guarantee that we had a lot of people in the organization saying, no, we cannot, our developers or people cannot use ChatGPT. It's even in partners, people were using that, and we really need to guarantee that we set the rules and that we guarantee that we are doing that in a safe environment, and also look at the areas that we believe had the most potential to be used within the organization. And we have, at that point in time, identified six clusters where we could do that, either if it was in info retrieval and summarizing that information, document generation, also across the organization, customer service and sales assistance. We see significant potential in terms of that, both in terms of quality and costs. Operations assistance, that we see this in our power plants, in managing our networks, and also synthetic data generation being really applied to simulation, and of course, code generation. So in all of these areas, we have the organization working together all across the different regions with partners, because we really believe that there is a significant potential of what we can do. And to do that, we really need to guarantee that the organization is not afraid, that it really sees the potential of the value that we can have in really having an extended, humanized version of what our people can really do. So we see significant potential, and we see that data and AI are absolutely crucial for the type of ambition and challenges that we have ahead in terms of this energy transition. Either if it's in remote operations, in having more digitized and intelligent networks, and really guaranteeing that we have more productive and even more creative employees in what they are doing.
Fantastic. I love that notion of data is your power and using AI to unleash the power. It's fantastic. So let's just move across to Madalena. So financial services, obviously no stranger to disruption, whether it's industry, regulators, new entrants, or actually just lots of changing customer expectations. So maybe you could share the CDD strategy and how AI is embedded into that strategy as you look forward.
Yes, thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. CGD has been undergoing a very intense process of transformation. It started in 2017 after a long period that was difficult after the financial markets crisis in 2008. And this transformation has been made in two waves. The first wave was very much focused on operational resilience, financial resilience, on recouping market share in key business areas. And this second wave of transformation that we are living right now, and that has the motto, building the future, actually has been focusing on modernizing the bank, simplifying processes, having top-level customer experience, and exploring the digital opportunities and everything that comes around with that. And we had very significant results so far, which are interesting. The first of all that I would like to point out, actually, because it goes to the point of data and it contributes to increase the amount of data that we have from our clients, is digital impact. We now have 2.3 million digital customers, which is around 60% of our customer base, and 1.7 million customers using the mobile app. And this has increased very much the number of interactions that the customers have with the bank, increasing our ability to have insight about our customers and to be able to serve them better. Another example as a result of this is, for instance, for personal loans, which is an area that we have been growing inside the bank in the past years. We evolved from a 2% digital sale to 55% digital sale as of end of last year. So it has been a path that we have been going through, and this has put us as a level in which we can now take a lot more advantage of the potential that is unleashed with this next area of AI. So CGD, Caixa, as most banks have and companies has been using a predictive AI for quite some time, and machine learning, especially in interaction with client, going to a deeper level of personalization. And in the end of 2022, beginning of 23, with the boom of this Gen AI technology, we deployed a strategy in order to make sure that we would take the most out of this opportunity that we see as highly transformational. So what we did was that we identified around 20 use cases to experiment with a diverse set of technologies and in different parts of the organization. And we prioritized these use cases based on the positive impact that they would have either for customers or for the bank's employees, the risks associated with the experimentation, because we know it's a recent technology, the readiness of data to deploy quickly. We wanted to have fast results and be able to get a positive feedback loop and understand what's best to do next, and also the willingness across the organization to adopt the technology and to adapt the processes. We have also investing in having our data architecture ready to deploy AI at scale. So that's another thing that we focused on last year, and invested in generating enthusiasm across the whole organization, including the board of directors. We had several sessions with the board of directors and with partners in order to explain AI, the risks of using it, the potential, how we should deploy it correctly. And also with the whole employee base, we have some sessions that we call digital talks, and we had over 6,000 attendances throughout the year. And at the same time, we started designing our framework for responsible AI to make sure that we use it in an ethical and responsible way. So just to give a few examples of what we've been working on. So one of the initiatives was to deploy Copilot. We deployed it across many different functions in the organization in order to understand which people and which functions could take the most out of the Copilot, and also to kind of generate ambassadors of the technology across Caixa as a whole. And we are now preparing a mentorship program to help people use the technology and take the most out of it. We have developed a chatbot for employees. As most large corporations, there's a vast amount of information regarding company policies, internal procedures, even the characteristics of many of your product offerings. And so we developed this chatbot that allows our employees to have access to the information in a more friendly, timely manner and more adjusted to their needs. Another thing we're working on is customer insight. In banks, we have many data from clients, data from many years ago. And so we are generating a summary of the customer insight, the characteristics of the customer, its relationship with the bank, to help the account managers go to clients with a more clear vision of what their needs are, and to increase their commercial assertiveness. We are also working with it in the back office, more in fraud management, with dynamic models to detect patterns, and also in taking care of customer documentation and extracting relevant information that may be in those documents that the customers regularly take to the bank, and in technology to address the issue of obsolete technology and legacy systems in order to overcome and modernize our systems. These use cases allowed us to have a good gist of what the technology may bring us. And now for 2024, we're reshaping our strategy in a different manner. We elected a few key lines of businesses that we have the ambition to transform deeply, to grow, to have significant growth in the market. And we are identifying all the use cases across that line of business in particular, in order to fully enhance and transform the business and make it grow based on AI. So we are very excited about what's going next.
Yeah, and some of the use cases there, you know, the fantastic application in your industry where there's heavy workflow, and I like this notion then of, you know, you experimenting and now applying it into a real production scenario where you can drive real connected to customer and productivity. You also use the words, you know, data is power as well, that unlocking the data that you have, the historic data in your business to help your sales teams go to market. And the third thing I noticed there was this notion of, you know, focusing on the identification of the use cases that drive biggest impact. And it made me think about this kind of notion of using AI for the force for good, the potential for good in society. So maybe I'll ask you a question around that, because as we apply AI to solve some of the biggest challenges in society, I'm just really interested in your articulation of this in the context of the work that you do. How are you at the bank trying to focus on solving some of the issues around inclusion, around the broader community?
Yes, it's a very good question. In Caixa, we are very serious about social impact. In particularly regarding this issue, there are two aspects that I think have to be a concern. The first thing is digital literacy. So digital literacy is increasingly needed for us to go about with our lives and with our jobs, but there is still a wide number of Europeans that are not accustomed to using these kinds of technologies, around 30% according to the latest EU studies. And another thing at the same time is the fact that financial literacy is quite low. And the financial industry and the products that we offer to our customers tend to be complex. And we see as our responsibility to make sure that customers understand better how they should choose what they invest in, or how they should choose their loans. And so we have been working in the past in a few different things, namely on digital assistance, and which we think it's a very powerful way for customers that are not as used to use like an app or to navigate the web, but they can use natural language to connect with the bank, to make questions about their bank account, or to make some simple operations without needing to be tech savvy. And another thing that we have been addressing is financial information on general to help people take better decisions. And now we have a traditional website that does this. And these two use cases, I believe, can be very powerfully enhanced with Gen AI, because the personal assistant 3.0 will be much smarter, will be able to adapt the kind of conversation, the kind of language it uses, depending on the customer that is posing the question, and that will be much more powerful in terms of adoption. And also the information about financial services can be embedded in one of these solutions, and we can have a much more tailor-made approach to have people better understand and to have better solutions. So I think this is an area where we can use AI for good. And also, for instance, one of the areas we have in production is to analyze your spending profile. And we did it with LLMs in order to understand the profile of our customers and to give recommendations. Then we can have also a savings profile, saving goals, and we can help customers to make smarter and more informed decisions. So I think there's a lot of space to work on.
There's a lot of opportunity there. So, coming back to you, Anna, we talked about the EDP energy transition strategy, but as a utility provider, you can't do it in isolation. You need to kind of meet people in the places that they are, the communities that you serve. Tell us a little bit about how you're executing that energy transition strategy, but working with the communities that you touch.
You mentioned the word isolation, and I think it's important to see that at the core of our DNA, at the core of our strategy, is really working in terms of ecosystem. And this is fundamental when you look at working with the communities when you are deploying projects all around the world. And today, worldwide, you want to have clean energy, you want to have affordable energy, and at the same time, you need to guarantee security of supply. And we've seen that with all the changes in the geopolitical landscape we had, and even when we looked from Europe to the US to other regions, that the security of supply is fundamental. So we will need, in the coming decades, a tremendous deployment of energy, of green energy worldwide. And it's really important to work with the communities on that. And so since the beginning, in terms of EDP, we have worked very thoroughly within the communities. We have, of course, global strategies, but we act very local. So our programs with the communities, from Singapore to the US to Portugal to Spain to all the 29 markets we have people in the stakeholder management areas that work together with the communities to really guarantee that deployment. And this is very important because local communities, we need to raise the awareness in terms of the local communities of why is the deployment in terms of energy important, but at the same time, we need to guarantee that these clean techs that we need to develop, we need to ensure sustainability and environmental compliance in all of the projects that we deploy to guarantee that those principles are observed all across these type of projects. And so I can provide some examples of the things that we are doing. Some of them we have even, we belong in terms of the World Economic Forum to the industrial clusters to really share practices among the members of what we are doing. And I think that one good example is the transition that we've been making from coal to green to really guarantee that our previous power plants are all converted into green hubs. So for all the projects we had, even the ones that we acquired and that they were already deactivated, we guarantee this transition into green hubs, where we are placing green hydrogen, flexibility, storage, renewables in these areas. And the examples we had, mainly in Portugal and mainly in Spain, in those areas, when we are closing down those power plants and converting into new projects, it is fundamental that you work with the communities. Why? Because the way that you do the transition, that it's a just transition for the communities and for the people that you employ directly and indirectly, is fundamental, because we need to ensure this transition, but at the same time to really convert people into new jobs and into new roles. And in these situations, you had people that were prior working in those plants that today and in the future we will be working in terms of these green hubs. And so in terms of skills, in terms of competencies, it is fundamental to do that with the community. So in areas where we had, for instance, employees that didn't want to work in other centers, we promoted entrepreneurship programs with them so that they could create their own businesses. And for the large population we had that we are converting into these roles, we are training these people in new competencies and skills. And as an example, when you had people that had core competencies of mechanics or remote dispatch operations or competencies in terms of electric competencies, we need to guarantee that before people that were operating a boiler will then in the future need to operate an electrolyzer in terms of a green hub. And so it's very interesting the type of training that you are providing these people, and generative AI opens a huge world of possibilities to these people because it will be much more easy, the way that you will train them, the way that they have easy access to information. And so the development of new competencies, it's much easier than they had in the past. So for us, it's really about how do we guarantee this transition, always working with the communities and with all of the institutions in those regions. And we have policies for that goes from the development to the decommissioning to guarantee, that in the development, it's always very easy to guarantee that you want the involvement of the communities in that part, but it's also important when you are decommissioning projects and converting projects to really guarantee that you work together with the communities and that you guarantee the future and the transition of your workforce into those competencies. And definitely what we are seeing in our industry is that AI significantly empowers the way that we are doing that transition.
Fascinating. Well, look, really great insight from the both of you. It's certainly exciting times for Portugal. Thank you both for sharing. And as we close the discussion, I'd ask you to really just think about how you, in your organizations, are taking advantage of this moment in time, this new era of AI. How are you applying it in the context of your business? And how are you helping to redefine the industry that you work in? And with that, I'm going to thank Ana and Madalena, and thank you all of you for listening, and wish you a great rest of the conference. Thank you.